All right, and this is our subject building for the day. A renovation in progress. It got a little bit out of hand and a little out of control. Lovely old late 18th century, early 19th century house with some very, very heavy Italianate modifications. Here on the streets of eastern Massachusetts. Let's go around, take a look. This is the back of the building. This is where the foundation has collapsed. Loose rubble stone. No mortar in the joints. The sill rolling out. And the roof sagging down. No, that's not the lens. I think it's just perilously hanging. Sill's broken and curled. Broken and pitched. Sheathing boards are popping off. This looks just like they look before they fall to the ground. You can see they're putting new sheathing on the roof in the back. The word is the rafters, which are new to the building, but pre-existing this work, were sound. And obviously a series of additions. This one probably put on in the 1850s, and this one looks like it was done in the 1930s. This is an overdug foundation hole with no footing whatsoever because of the period of the foundation itself. And yes, you can see daylight through that joint in the corner. One wonders where this was headed. This is the end of the last, most recent addition to the building. It's in deplorable condition. Stripped of its siding, not very pretty.
When COVID started, I stopped doing contemporary work and switched to just historical. So
this is a lovely little porch with a curved end that was vertically boarded. The markings on it are from the shingle siding that was put on just in the last go-around on the building.
I haven't seen it from quite yet.
This is from the street side. This is the porch. It looks a little teeny bit like a piece of a Bud liner or an old American diner. It's really quite charming. It's hard to know what it ever looked like. It appears like it had open posts, and it looks like it was actually, there was a time before it had windows in it. And then obviously a lump on top of that we see as a secondary addition on the back of the house. And here's that broad cornice work that was installed after the house was built on its first major rehab in the 1850s, when the heavy capitals on the window frames were installed, all stripped of its siding. Used to be clapboarded, used to be shingled. Foundation on the porch, really poor, missing in places, washed in. This is washed in before and has been replaced with brick rather than the rubble stone. This is failing also. Kind of a broad old water table with a nice diagonal joint to improve the nailing when someone either did some work on it or, well, who knows how it was originally done. We have sheathing nails from the 1805 construction, I'd say. Sheathing nails that have characteristically 2 lobes on them rather than the 4 that we see in early 18th century work. The windows, these new windows, fascinating. And they actually scribed in this casing material that they installed to the clapboards that were here, all the way up and all the way down. Looks like it might have been a piece of one of the clapboards. We'll save that for some paint analysis. In front of the building, in its current condition, as this Italianate conversion with the increased roof size and the heavy pediments on the windows, and a now missing entry portico really made this place look like a dollhouse. Beautiful little gable window, like a dollhouse. And our early 19th century foundation, stones, lintels, granite blocks set across. I hate to sound like I'm a vulture, but I'd really like to be in line when they throw these windows away. This is some lovely old mid-19th century glass. Probably cylinder glass rather than crown glass, but still, don't make it like that anymore. All right, here we are on the far gable end. It is in many respects, a replica of the other side, sans the addition. Same heavy water table, granite lintels, very, very, very dolled up windows. They kept the pattern of the fenestration on the building, probably because even though they extended and redid the outside, they really weren't reconfiguring the interior of the building. So the windows going into the rooms that they were still worked out. And this is old sheathing board, and you can see that it was cut on an up and down sawmill, because one of the teeth was a little bit longer than the others, and all day long this sesh saw went up and down and up and down, and the logs slowly fed through it. Not quite hand sawn, but the next step to it. It wasn't until after this building was built that the circular saw was invented. So all of this was sesh sawn. And now we're going to take a look inside through this window and see, I don't know, lighting and all of that. We'll see a little bit of the interior, the mess on the back, the floor that fell in, piece of floor in front that fell. Attic floor still remains. Attic framing still remains. You can see down the far end, right down there, some little teeny pieces of wood going up at an angle. There are a series of them. And what they are is they're supporting a little teeny parapet wall that was built on top of the plate of this building to build the roof edge up. They actually took the roof off the building and constructed a parapet wall all the way around and then built a new roof on top just so that they could put a larger cornice on. Fashion drives so much. Lots of bracing, some of it having been interrupted by things happening in the past. And all of the floor joists, as you can see, are in open cog joints. They were just dropped into mortises. The floor joists really were just setting there by their own weight. Nothing fastening them. You can see wherever something did happen, they're gone. They just drop right out. And this down here, this mass, is where the center chimney was. You can imagine when this house was built, that chimney was the heating source for the entire building. And if you look carefully, you can see that it's a stone box with a timber platform on top, and then the chimney built on top of that. So it's hollow in the middle. I don't know if there's a way into the center. There sometimes is. Anyway, well, this has been fun. Thank you very much.